Name, your media, and to whom you want to ask your question.
My name is John Cassin from Zim. My apologies, I came rather late. You may have mentioned this, but my question is regarding the safeness that you've established that maybe could give some confidence to the victims so that they would feel free to come and report. How have you maybe you can describe how prepared are you for, especially the male victims, to come out in open? What sort of safeness do you have?
Thank you so much. At Adult Rape Clinic, we offer private and confidential services, and it's important for me to mention that the establishment of the institution was born from the need of private and confidential services. Initially, it was clients walk through the outpatients department or casualty department where there is no privacy, and when it comes to triaging, at times you end up in divulging the reason why you are there, and because people within our societies usually stigmatize survivors, so a lot of people fail to access services because of the initial stigma that they face when they come through the entry points to the healthcare services. But at Adult Rape Clinic, we're saying that our services are private and confidential, and we also have male service providers within the institution, because some people may feel that it's not easy for them to elaborate intimate sexual trauma to the person of a different gender. So we also have male service providers that are there to support them. And we also have virtual services in case that people don't really feel like walking through the clinic, but they want to access information first before they can come through. But it's not just the Adult Rape Clinic that offers services. These services are also available within the health institutions, within the Ministry of Health.
And even at Young Africa, though we have physical vocational training centers, that's our core business, but each one of our training centers and even our mobile training locations, we have a wellness space where there's a counselor available for psychosocial support, cases such as this, and we have peer-to-peer counseling services. Of course, guaranteed confidentiality, and in our case, we are not a specialist in this, so we refer to specialist services for referrals, treatments, and further processing of cases. Thanks for your question.
I'm really small for interest to you. Is there anything that you may regard as inappropriate as far as dress is concerned? Because I'm looking at men who may give an excuse that the dressing was more inviting or sex suggestive. But you, as Young Africa, say people must dress as they want, but are there cases, maybe even from the perspective of the ARC, whereby the perpetrators give it as an excuse? I don't know how many of them would give it as an excuse that I did it because the dressing was inappropriate according to the perpetrator. And from you, I want to hear whether you would say, no, this one, yes, there's a level of inappropriateness as far as dressing is concerned.
Yeah, it's a very good question. It's also a difficult one, but I will answer it at two levels. We are a training organization, and with training, young people comes also general education. We have life skills education integrated into all our training programs. And because we prepare young people for the labor market, for the world of work, we said dress decently. At school, dress decently. So we are all in Zimbabwe, we know what dressing decently is. And I'm not going to prescribe the rules here, but everyone in this room is dressed decently because we know what it takes to go to church, to go to an office, to go to school. We have a common understanding of that. If a young person breaks those rules by, just to give an example, a young girl wearing a crop top up there, or a young guy wearing shorts to school, we tap them on the shoulder and say, will you please go home and dress decently? Because we have this common understanding. So that is one answer to your question. There is the second answer. How can a victim, whatever way they are dressed, they may be provoking, but they are never responsible for sexual assault. It's the perpetrator who is responsible for what he or she is doing. So you can never blame the dress code of someone being dressed appropriately or not as an invitation for sexual behavior without consent. There is no sex without consent. So that can never be used as an excuse according to the principles of Denim Day, according to the principles of Young Africa, and only ARC can respond to how it is for them.
Thank you so much. When it comes to sexual activities, sex is in the mind, it's not in the organs. So dressing actually comes as an enhancer to what has already been predetermined within the mind. So I'll also pose a question to say, at Adult Rape Clinic, we also have statistics of children as young as 2 months to as old as 85 years. And we cannot at the end of the day say the dressing is the one that has caused the sexual assault, but it's the mindset of the perpetrator. Because surely how does somebody become attracted to a baby in diapers? To say the diapers were inviting. So it's mainly the mindset of the perpetrator. It's so sad that when we reflect from our cultural context, men have actually been the ones that lead in sexual relations. But it does not necessarily mean that women are not aroused by the way that men dress. But they control themselves. You don't really see women usually whistling or saying funny statements when men move around in shorts or tight shirts or other things. But it's the men that have been cultured to say out those things to women because they feel that they are empowered to initiate sexual relations. So it's never the responsibility of the survivor when it comes to sexual assault. It's the mindset of the perpetrator. We can talk about dressing, and now we're also hearing issues of males being sexually exploited. Would we say that these males are also dressed indecently to invite the perpetrator to sexually abuse them? But it's the mindset of the perpetrator that actually needs to be corrected.
But generally, maybe looking at the numbers, how many of the perpetrators would give it as an excuse that maybe it was the issue of dressing that actually triggered the war scenario?
It's unfortunate that we're not very much privileged to access all the court cases that are related to sexual assault, and that question is best answered by the legal professionals within the courts. They can give you the statistics as to how many will give that as an excuse.
And an excuse, you give the answer yourself. An excuse is not the same as a valid reason. Yes.
Hi. My question is particularly on sexual assault or harassment in tertiary institutions. Many times those cases are not reported, and that's due to the negative consequences that they can face thereafter. So my question is, what have you been doing in order to empower tertiary students to come up and report such cases?
I presume the question is to me. Sorry, what's your name and your media?
Star Waza, Zimbabwe's television network.
Okay, great. Thanks for your question. At Young Africa, we have a very strong safeguarding policy, and we have posters all over the place. We empower our youths with their rights regarding safeguarding. We have a focal person at every one of our training locations whom they can report confidentially to in case they feel that the safeguarding rules and regulations have been trespassed. So it's there's just a zero tolerance policy against any form of sexual abuse, any form of abuse or disrespect in general. That doesn't mean that where 1,000 people today come together, that's always respected. But the rules, the boundaries, the protocols, and everything is set in place to protect young people, but also everyone working at the schools. Thanks for your question.
Thank you. I can also respond to that. I'd like to appreciate the efforts that have actually been done by the Ministry of Women Affairs, Ministry of Higher Tertiary Education, the Gender Commission of Zimbabwe, in ensuring that at least there's some form of prevention of sexual exploitation and harassment policies within tertiary institutions, and I believe that they're also working hard to strengthen those policy documents so that they can be enacted. As Adult Rape Clinic, we actually have a very strong community awareness thematic area where we actually partner with tertiary institutions. We educate students about prevention of sexual exploitation. It's part of the sexual reproductive health curricula that we extend as part of awareness, so that at least they know how to respond to relations that they have, because when you look at students within the tertiary institutions, most of them are young adults, and it's actually something that they engage to as part of their growing up. They engage in relations. So we educate them about safe sex and how to respond within these intimate relations. And we also try to encourage them to report sexual exploitation. We cannot really say that it's not happening. It does happen, but knowledge is one of the key instruments that people can use to exercise their rights. Some of them are exploited because they don't know the provisions that are there to prevent sexual abuse within their institutions. But once they are aware, and the facilitators and lecturers are also aware that the students are aware, then the incidence of sexual exploitation actually reduces. So we are actually partnering with higher and tertiary institutions to ensure that students as well as the lecturers are aware of the sexual exploitation. And we also, as Adult Rape Clinic and other civil society organizations, prescribe to the prevention of sexual exploitation and harassment as one of the principles that guides our service provisions within the communities. So we are a zero tolerance organization to all forms of sexual abuse. Thank you.